can you give us any update?
He'll have an MRI tomorrow, and that's all I can tell you. I saw him look like he slipped on a wet spot right before the half, and see what happens with the MRI.
How about for the previous one on his right ankle?
His ankle was fine.
That was, is 100% recovered or 90% or 80%?
87.3.
Steve, what was the telling sign that Steph wasn't going to be able to go?
Excuse me?
What was the telling sign that Steph wouldn't be able to go in the second half?
He came out, was sitting on the bench with about 3 minutes to go, and he was kind of gathering his thoughts, and we had talked with the doctors about just seeing how he felt, trying it out with a little warm-up session. He went out there, tried to move on it, and it wasn't right. He still wanted to play, and we wouldn't let him, and he you know, he was, you saw, he was, I'm sure he was very, very upset, and you know, I just feel awful for him. Now hopefully he's going to be okay before too long. We don't know, but I just feel so bad for him. I mean, he's been healthy all year long, and you know, all of a sudden the playoffs start, and a couple of fluke things, and feel bad for Steph, but we got to move on.
So Steve, someone had to tell him, Steph, you're not going to be playing, and that was you?
Well, I just, I said, are you okay? And he said, yeah, I'm okay. And I said, are you sure? You got to be honest with us. And Chelsea was there as well, and he just put his head down, and he knew it was not a wise thing to do, to go out there.
Steve, how worried were you about sort of the emotions of the team? It's obviously a tie game. They see the MVP obviously upset and hurt leaving, and then that's when you kind of took off. What did you say? What did Draymond say to the team? What sort of fueled that, do you think?
It didn't surprise me one bit that we played so well in the second half. Our guys play for each other. I think they were playing for Steph in the second half. We felt, oddly enough, pretty good about the first half. And we played a beautiful about 10 minutes of the first quarter, and the roof kind of caved in on us for a variety of reasons, and then it got real choppy, and everything was going their way. And to go in at halftime tied was, in our minds, was a victory, because we felt like we could get our rhythm back, and we obviously did. 38 assists, you know, 121 points. You know, we liked our groove, and then I thought, you know, Andre and Clay did a phenomenal job on James, just trying to make everything difficult. And you know, he didn't get to the line, I don't think, at all in the second half. I may be wrong about that, but you know, we stopped fouling him, and we got the momentum.
I know Marcus observed that it looks like in that conversation that you had with Steph that you and Draymond were maybe trying to console him or say that maybe you're going to try to win it for him. Did a conversation like that occur?
We didn't. I don't think those were our words. We just both felt bad for him, because Steph was emotional about not being able to go back out there, and he just had his head buried in his hands, and we both just patted him on the back, and you know, there wasn't much to say, but it wasn't, you know, we'll go win this for you or anything like that. It was just the compassion of, you know, knowing that he couldn't get out there.
Steve, Draymond said after Game 3 that he didn't have his usual intensity and his usual energy. What do you think of his energy tonight, especially after you guys talked with Steph throughout the third quarter?
I thought Draymond was brilliant. The couple of threes that he hit early in the third seemed to just give us a huge boost emotionally. He was great all night, though. I mean, he had, for whatever reason, he didn't have his usual energy the other night. Tonight he had that swagger back. He was brilliant at both ends. Andre played pretty much a perfect game. He was just awesome, and we got contributions from up and down the bench, which was fantastic, which we're going to need, you know, as long as we're without Steph, and even when he gets back, we're going to need that.
Steve, right now the NBA CEO is discussing to forbid that kind of strategy, that intentionally foul on the big centers like Shaquille O'Neal or Dwight Howard and send them to free throw lines. And as one of the best coaches in the league, how do you think of this?
Thank you for the compliment. I hate the rule. I hate fouling and watching guys parade to the foul line. At no other level of basketball in the world do we have this rule. In, college basketball, high school, FIBA, you foul a guy on purpose, intentionally away from the ball. It's 2 free throws in the ball. It's not a basketball play. As long as the rule exists, we'll try to take advantage of it when we have to, when we need to. But I think it's something that needs to be changed. It's kind of silly.
Steve, I know the great concern is just healthy on this point, but what were your impressions of how you looked in the first half so far?
My impressions of Steph?
In the first half.
Looked like his conditioning was fine, just couldn't get his rhythm. And I thought he was trying to do too much. I didn't mind the shots. He was trying to get himself going with a lot of threes, which was fine because the way Steph goes, sometimes he just makes one and the floodgates open up. But I thought he was trying to do too much off the dribble. He turned it over 5 times. He was pressing a little bit, and but I thought his movement looked good and his conditioning was better than I expected. And then he slips on the wet spot, and unfortunately, back to square one. We'll see what happens with the MRI tomorrow.
Steve, we often talk about how Clay, you can't really tell whether he's feeling intense or feeling low or high. It looked like tonight, especially after halftime, you could see that his intensity level was higher. Did you see the same thing?
Yeah, he was a little more animated than usual. I think he sensed how much we needed him, especially when Steph went down. But he had a great first half, too. But I thought Clay's energy and movement was fantastic, and he really loosened up the defense with all of his cutting and motion, and obviously knocked down 7 threes, which was huge. But yeah, I thought he was among the many who played well.
Steve, I know that you addressed it a little earlier, but you guys made a big statement in the third quarter, and it coincided with Stephen Curry going out. How does that work? Are they thinking we owe it to him, or we have to pick up a slack? What is the dynamic?
Well, when you have a team that's as together as ours is, and that cares about each other like ours does, then you tend to pick up the fight a little bit. And there wasn't any rallying cry. It was just our guys sensed that we needed to come together. I think they were a little bit upset about the way the first half went, after the start we had, and then kind of the way we let things slip away a little bit. But it's just a group that plays hard for each other, and that showed. Thank you.
Great, thank you.